Hello. Ignore any mess in the background of this video, that's called con crunch. Anyways, I have kind of a weird question for you all. What would you all do if you found out that God was real? Like the Christian Judeo-God. I ask this question to myself a lot. I think it's interesting because I think I would be scared, but not because of the fact that I've been a staunch non-believer in the Christian Judeo-God for a large part of my life. Like, I wouldn't feel any regrets for not believing. It wouldn't be a situation like that. But I would be scared because the Christian God is an inherently wrathful, spiteful, vengeful, angry God. If you read the Bible, you will see that over and over, God does horrible things to humanity, sometimes for shits and giggles with no reason. You really have to sit there and think about the fact that he's not nice, and I really don't think he loves humanity like he claims to. If you love something, why would you continuously torture it like this? Over and over and over. When I think of how God would see me, I only think of him being disappointed. But that's not because of who I am as a person, that's because who he is and how he is continuously disappointed by every human. If the Christian God is truly omnipresent and makes each individual person knowing their entire life as the Christian Bible claims, then he really, really sucks. And he likes playing games with humans like they're his toys, and he does not care about us. And I think that's something interesting to think about. Every time I rewatch Evangelion, I have these thoughts because of the nature of the angels in Evangelion and the nature of how the first, second, and third impact, the creation of humanity and the destruction of humanity, are shown. It's interesting because God is never explicitly mentioned in Evangelion as like a character, as something that has influence. Instead, God is seen as this overarching threat. God is more of a conceptual fear than it is an entity with control. And I think that's how I would feel if I found out the Christian God was real. I think I would just be scared. Scared because I know there is someone with no morals comparable to humans, ready to do whatever he wants with us. Anyway, enough about my little spiel. Which angels from Evo would I fuck or not? Welcome to the Eva Angel Smasher Pass. I am not a theology major. I am not even a theology minor. I take theology classes and I listen to this shit and I watch this shit for funsies. Maybe it's because I think that if I can understand the Bible better than the Christians that tortured me growing up, then maybe I'll be able to heal myself. Or maybe I just think this shit is cool and wacky because it doesn't make any sense and it's kind of fun. I'm drawn to media like Evangelion because of that. I know a decent amount about the Abrahamic religions. If you don't know, the Abrahamic religions are Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. These are the three religions where Abraham as an important figure shows up. And these are the three religions that also claim that everyone is a descendant of Abraham. That's a very, non-nuanced way to put it, but if you didn't know what I was saying, now you kind of know. These three religions share a lot of aspects. They share characters, they share set locations, they share lots of theology. For those of you that didn't know, Jesus is literally in the Quran. So that's kind of how these three religions are connected. And they're very interesting to me. And because of that, I decided to do some deep diving to satisfy my little internal mental itch and learn a lot about the origins of the angels in Evangelion. I'm also a monster fucker, so I thought it would be kind of fun if I got to ramble on about the origins of these angels, how they relate to their origin in canon, what their effect is on the canon of the original Evangelion anime, and then whether or not I would smash. I also want to hear your Smasher Pass lists in the comments, so stick with me, keep with it. Let's go over this together and see which Eva angels we would smash and or pass. This will only be covering the original 90s anime up until episode 24. This will not be talking about End of Eva, this will not be talking about any of the rebuilds, and this will not be talking about the final 2 episodes of the original anime before End of Eva came out. This will also not touch on the novelizations or the manga. This is strictly the first 24 episodes of the original anime. The reason for this is because I do not want to count the Evas as angels. I do not want to go over the third impact as an entity of itself, whether or not I would smash it. And the rebuilds, I just don't like them. I just don't like them, so I don't want to talk about them. That's a topic for a different day when I'm really in the mood to get flamed. For some reason, I'm always drawn to fandoms that have like the strongest opinions and the most intense members of the fandom. I think it's because I like to make my heart condition worse. I gotta speedrun my way to the grave before climate change can take me there, bitch. I will not die of the inevitable raising of the ocean. I will die of discourse. So I will be covering the 17 angels that are listed as the 17 angels of Evangelion. This will obviously include spoilers. This is your final spoiler warning. If you watch this video and you know, you get in the comments and you're all pissed there are spoilers, I literally don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. So, beep boop bop, here's your warning. We're going to be going over the angels in order, which does not necessarily mean the order of appearance. So first up, as our first angel on this smash or this pass, is Adam. So out here in the real world, I'm assuming you have heard of Adam from Adam and Eve fame. In the Christian Bible, God made him from the earth and eventually made a companion, Eve, out of his rib so that Adam would not be living alone. I consider Adam the first misogynist. If you read through the original text in Genesis for Adam and Eve's story, Eve is minding her own business. She is tempted by Satan to try the translation's kind of spotty, but fruit of unlimited knowledge, fruit of immortality. It depends on which book you read it from. Because yes, Adam and Eve's myth is also in the Quran and is obviously in the Torah. Eve eats this fruit. Eve takes it back to Adam. Adam needs absolutely no prompting, temptation, or anything from Satan to eat it. Adam just eats it. Unlike Eve, who had to be convinced to go against God, Adam was ready from day fucking one, and all he needed was someone to blame. Adam and Eve obviously get expelled from the Garden of Eden. They have 3 sons mentioned by name in Genesis once they are kicked out of the garden: Cain, Abel, and Seth. They are also said to have other nameless sons and daughters. Adam and Eve both live to be 930 years old, with the exception of someone named Enoch, who we will be getting to later. This is like the average lifespan for people pre-God's flooding on Earth, according to the Bible. All of Adam and Eve's kids lived to be about 777 years old. Most lived over 900 years, but 777 is the minimum years one of Adam and Eve's children lived. So if you've ever wondered how the whole Earth populating from 2 people happened, it's because they had a millennium to do it, which is plenty enough time to keep having kids. Specifically in Judaism, it is said, I have my notes here, so sorry if I look over here, that God took the dust from the site of the first temple in the 4 parts of the world, put it with water of all the seas, and therefore formed Adam. And in Islam, Adam is believed to still be the first man on earth. He's also the first prophet of Islam, the first speaker of Allah. Eve is also really respected in Islam. She has a different name. I'm going to butcher this. Hawa. Adam is seen as the first Muslim, and his wife is seen as the mother of mankind, and the myth basically follows suit. An interesting difference, though, in the Quran versus most Christian theology is that the Quran specifically states that life on Earth in a lot of ways predated Adam, which supports the concept of evolution, while in Christianity it's kind of ambiguous about if any life existed on Earth to the extent of sentience before Adam. Now, in Evangelion, Adam is seen as one of 2 seeds of life. You have Adam, you have Lilith. We'll be getting to Lilith later, but she'll be mentioned a little bit here, so keep that name in mind. Adam is also the genetic basis for the forming of the Evas, of the actual Evangelion Gundams. Adam's DNA is used to make them, except for Unit 01, made from Lilith's DNA. We'll get to that in a bit. We never get to see what Adam looks like outside of the form of a fetus. We see a glowing silhouette that mimics the appearance of an Eva with these big old shoulders and the body and everything, but we don't see any details of what Adam would look like in his full form. We only see him as a little baby in a suitcase. Adam was created by the first ancestral race forever ago. He was sent to Earth on a meteorite basically called the White Moon. The White Moon was supposed to create more angels. The White Moon and Adam were supposed to create the Earth covered in angels, but then the Black Moon, containing Lilith, also smacked in Earth. The 2 seeds cannot exist on the same planet. It goes against whatever little mythical biology we have going on here. They cannot coexist. For one to live, the other must die. Like, it's to the point where there's a special magical universe spear that is created when they're on the same planet, because one of them needs to be actively subdued by this magical spear. Like, this should not be happening. Like, they should not be around each other. Adam's spear exists. Lilith's spear no longer exists. So only Adam can be quote-unquote properly subdued, quote-unquote. After Lilith landed and her spear was ruined, but Adam's spear is functional, as stated, Adam was basically put into a state of stasis, which means Lilith got to populate the earth, and Lilith is the root of all human DNA in the world of Evangelion. This is known as the first impact, the subduing of Adam and Lilith populating the earth. Adam and the spear are later discovered by an expedition team, specifically led by Misato's father. He led something called the contact experiment, which caused the second impact because human DNA fused with Adam. This erased the entirety of Antarctica, flooded the oceans significantly, and also turned the South Pole bright red because of all the human blood and primordial soup that was made from every single person that died in the second impact. So basically, Adam in the world of Eva was a fetal nuclear bomb. Now he is here, owned by Shinji's father, in a crystallized state in a briefcase. And so that's what we have going on for Adam. So would I smash? No. I would not smash. Since he's a fetus right now, first off, there is nothing to smash. Second off, I despise children. And so since Adam is still an adolescent, I'd rather punt him into the sun and cause the fourth impact than ever be near it. Listen, I love nannying. I'm a great babysitter. I love it. But if you ever made me go near a child I don't want to be near or willingly participate in parenthood in any way, I think I would explode. So goodbye, Adam. Also, to smash Adam is to create another horrific moment for humanity. And honestly, the oceans rose. People, the oceans rose. Thousands upon thousands of people died. Really, no lay is worth that. Not a single man is worth that, especially not the first misogynist, the first man that screwed women over. So let's move on to the second angel, since first one is a big, bold no. Pass. Now let's talk about Lilith. You heard a little bit about Lilith's origin in Eva in the little Adam section right there. So you know she came on the Black Moon, slapped into Earth, and then her DNA populated the Earth with us, humans, also known as Lilith in the world of Eva. But what is Lilith to us in real life? So Lilith is a figure in a lot of Jewish mysticism and Jewish folklore. She's a controversial figure, though, that seems to have been co-opted by a lot of feminists in the modern day, and her core definition has changed a bit. There's also ample midrash about her that creates interesting perspectives. So what is midrash? Because that word's going to come up a bit during this. So midrash is basically a form of textual interpretation and lamentation done by people in the Jewish faith. Specifically, rabbis are the ones who typically have their midrash published, publicized, etc. But in theory, any person a part of the Jewish faith can participate in midrash. Midrash is not only used to expand upon Judaic texts, but also midrash is used nowadays for rabbis to look at theological questions that are hypothetical and, what modern morals look like as opposed to when the Talmud, Torah, etc. were originally written. Midrash, I think the word, if I'm not mistaken, directly translates into the word study. And so it's kind of like that. This quote I have here as a really good baseline for what midrash means. This is from Vanessa Lovelace. She defines midrash as a Jewish mode of interpretation that not only engages the words of the text, behind the text, and beyond the text, but also focuses on each letter and the words left unsaid by each line. It is a beautiful process of reverence to your religion. A lot of Lilith's content comes from midrash and external texts outside of the Torah. She is a female demonic figure. Her name and personality are thought to be derived from a class of Mesopotamian demons called Lilu or Lilitu. This word is typically translated as night monster, and that's usually what Lilith's name is translated into: night owl, night woman, etc. In some rabbinic literature, Lilith is seen as the mother of demons. In Genesis 1:27, there was an implication that another being was made from the same soil as Adam and that she could have been the first woman. While Eve was made from Adam's rib, some people believe that Lilith was Adam's first wife who rejected him, refused to submit to him, and flew off into the night to become the mother of demons, as she was then replaced by Eve. Some mythologies also say that an archangel Samael mated with Lilith to create all of her demonic children. That is actually like a core part of Silent Hill's mythology, fun fact. In Isaiah 34:13, there is a line that could also be referring to Lilith or Lilith's offsprings. While describing an inhospitable wilderness, the quote says that there are goat demons that shall greet each other, and the Lilith shall find rest. Some people think that this isn't referred to Lilith in the translation of night owl, like her name being in the translation of night owl, and for the context. So it's interesting that the creator of Evangelion chose to go with Lilith instead of Eve. It's also interesting that Lilith is the mother of humanity, while Adam is the father of angels. Meanwhile, here Lilith is the mother of demons, and Adam is the father of humanity. In Evangelion, Lilith is seen as a giant creature that is nailed up on a cross. It's this puffy, bloated thing of all white flesh. It has a round purple face that could either be interpreted as a mask or directly Lilith's face. There are 7 eyes and an upside down triangle on this mask and or face. When we first see Lilith's body in the current year of Eva, she has no hips or no legs. She is held onto the cross by the spear of Longinus, Adam's spear actually, not her own. She has fingers, she has a humanoid torso, she has human features. When the spear of Longinus is removed from Lilith's body, her legs return to her, and her legs seem to be made of multiple different humans or human-like appendages with arms, legs, and faces all emerging from her blubbery atomic flesh. It's interesting that Lilith is actively restrained in Eva when we see her, because in a lot of ancient art of Lilith as the biblical figure, Lilith is often restrained, tied up, chained as well. Like I mentioned earlier, Unit 1 is made of Lilith DNA, while the rest of the Evas are made from Adam's DNA. There are a few implications that the reason Lilith does not have legs when we first see her when she's nailed to the cross is because her legs were forcibly removed as the samples to make Eva Unit 1. Seeing that Lilith was chosen rather than Eve, and the type of commentary there is in the show about women's sexuality, and about motherhood, I think that it was very deliberate that Eve was not chosen. Lilith here acts almost as a mockery of a mother figure, almost like a tongue-in-cheek way to say that humans are the real demons. It's interesting that instead of her naturally giving up samples or giving birth to Unit 01 in a way, we have her forcibly dismembered, almost like it's a mockery of the birth process. Considering that sexual trauma is also really used in regards to women and stuff in Evangelion, I don't know, I just think it's very interesting Lilith was chosen. I could go on, but I don't want to make this a big analysis of the series. This is strictly analysis of the angels. So smash or pass, would I smash Lilith? I actually say yes. First off, she's one of the only female-coded angels in the whole thing, and I love really tall women. But also, she's safe for human DNA to mingle with. In fact, we all have her DNA, so don't mind if I do. Now let's move on to the third angel, Sachiel, or Sachiel. This is when my inability to speak Hebrew is going to start showing. This is the first angel to appear after the second impact. There were 15 years between the second impact and the appearance of this angel. This angel is actually the first thing we see when you start the anime. It is the first angel we see on screen. So in Kabbalistic and Christian angelology, hate that word, it doesn't come out of my mouth right. Sachiel, or Sachiel, is a cherubic angel. The cherubium angels are a very specific type of angel. You will learn throughout this video that there are many categories of angel. The name Sachiel, let's just decide here. Let's say Sachiel. We're going to do this together. Sachiel. The name actually originally appears in the 1500s in a very specific grimoire, not in any biblical text directly. There are a few different spellings of this angel's name, and so I had to do some deep digging to try to find any information about it. But it seems like this angel's name was used specifically to prevent disease, especially when applied to talisman, runes, etc. In a separate spelling of this, which could be a separate angel or the same angel translated differently. What we have here is that it's an archangel. It's an archangel who is connected to the stems of wealth, success, prosperity, harvest, harmony, and material gain. So an abundance angel. It seems that in some versions of occult teachings, this angel is also associated with the planet Jupiter and the day Thursday, and also the sign Sagittarius, which is interesting to me. Now, I'm about to talk about a very specific side biblical text that you're going to need to know about for the rest of these angels to sometimes make sense. So I need you to hear me out, okay? Because I'm assuming you have not heard of 3 Enoch. You think you know anything about angels? Name 3 angels listed in 3 Enoch. I'll wait. But no, actually, 3 Enoch is a separate text. It is a biblical, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, acrocyphal text. Specifically, 3 Enoch is comprised of 3 books, and it was written anywhere between the 12th century and the 15th century, with some spotty translation here and there. The 3 books follow the character of Enoch, who ascends into heaven. He becomes the angel Metatron, which will be mentioned a few more times as well. Metatron is seen as a very high up archangel, basically second only to Jesus in some texts. And in some texts, he even basically is just another name for Jesus sometimes. He is extremely powerful. He is a protector. He is like the angel of angels, one might even say. There are a few other names for 3 Enoch or 3rd Enoch, but it's, typically 3 Enoch. There's a few other names, one of them being the revelation of Metatron, because it is about Enoch's ascension to becoming him. Most Christian and Judaic authorities do not view 3 Enoch as canonical to their main religious texts, but basically, to sum up their plot, Enoch ascends to heaven in a storm chariot. He turns into an angel and becomes an exalted angel who gets a whole throne in heaven, and he gets to learn all the secrets of creation. These books go into heavy detail about many different types of angels, levels of angels, and levels of heaven. They will be coming up a lot because most of the names of angels from Evangelion are taken from 3 Enoch. Most of the angels in Evangelion are not in the main Christian Bible. In the show, Sachiel is the angel of water. He's also listed as an angel of water in 3 Enoch. This angel does emerge from the ocean, and it has anatomical features that are very humanoid, like exposed ribs, but he also has a bird skull type face. According to the Eva wiki, his name translates to covering of God. He fights with brute strength and also laser beams, which is pretty fun. This establishes the angels for us in the show and shows they cannot be taken down by bomb, missile, or otherwise. They can only be taken down by an Eva directly stabbing or affecting the core of the angel, which on this creature looks like its heart. We also learn from this episode that angels are intelligent creatures that learn, adapt, and also regenerate. We also learn that they can self-destruct, because that's exactly what Sachiel does. He self-destructs after almost losing to Unit 1 while Unit 1 is in berserk mode. Shinji fails to defeat the Eva himself, and his Eva ends up taking over and killing the angel. I remember when I first watched this, it kind of reminded me sometimes when trauma victims will go into blackout states of especially physical self-defense. Afterwards, Shinji seems to barely remember what happened, and so that seems, in my opinion, a great way to look at what happened. In the show, this angel not only acts as one catalyst for the story, but it also acts as Shinji's reintroduction to his father. It's his first introduction into being a pilot and doing stuff with the Evas and with Nerve, but it also reintroduces him to what it means to be in his father's life, and for him to welcome his father back into his life. Nerve is the reality of being in contact with his father again. The angels are the reality of being in contact with his father again. This life is what it means for Shinji to be around his father again. He becomes a tool again. His usefulness is emphasized. This angel acts as our first kind of peek into Shinji's psyche, why he gets in the robot in the first place. Because it's not to defeat the angel, it's not to protect humanity, it is because of his father and then guilt about this physical state Rei is in. This angel also teaches us what the Evas are capable of. When Unit 1 goes into berserk mode and it rips apart an AT field like it's nothing, and then it rips Sachiel's rib off and stabs it with its own rib, we see what these creatures are capable of. It shows us humanity's true weaknesses when it comes to these creatures, in the fact that nothing can take them down but something else with angel DNA and Eva. But it also shows us humanity's little glimpse of hope there. There's this positive side to how horrific everything is. It's a great opening to an anime, my favorite opening to a mecha anime I've ever seen. So would I smash? Yeah, why not? At the end of the day, it just kind of looks like a goth guy, and I'm into that. Remember when sexy plague doctors were a thing on TikTok for a while? Smash. Now we have Shamshiel. Shamshiel? I would love to know how to pronounce Hebrew. So, Shamshiel in the show is spelled like this. In biblical text, it's spelled like this. It's actually technically spelled a few ways. So there are 20 leaders of 200 fallen angels. These are mentioned in 3 Enoch. In the book of Daniel, in 4:13, 4:17, and 4:23, Nebuchadnezzar specifically talks about watchers, holy ones. He says he saw a watcher, a holy one, come down from heaven. This is considered a classification of angel. By the decree of the watchers, the demand by the word of the holy ones, the living may know that the Most High rules the kingdom of men. They're seen as overseers. There are good watchers and there are bad watchers. There are good and bad angels in this rank. In the book of Enoch, the watchers are dispatched to earth to watch over the humans, but they soon begin to fall one by one. They start to lust for human women and yearn for human stimulation. They start to proposition humanity, tempt them, and then procreate with them. That creates the Nephilim, who are seen as monsters, giants. They pillage and destroy humanity. Angel and human DNA is not supposed to mix. Wink, wink. This specific angel is number 16 out of the 20 watchers of 200 fallen angels. There are layers to this. His name means God is my son, as in the sky, not as in sun. There is a theological debate on whether or not Shamshiel is specifically considered a fallen angel or not, because some texts still refer to him as being present in the fourth heaven, while others say he fell with the others. Moments like these kind of mean we struggle because of translation and text lost to time and word of mouth over ancient civilizations. Now, earlier I mentioned that Shamshiel was a cherubic angel. These angels were specifically task-completing angels, typically to guard, protect, or to complete something for God. A lot of cherubic angels were seen guarding the gates of Eden. They are seen as like the best of the best angels, sometimes even better than archangels. Now, Shamshiel is listed in certain texts as one of the aides to the angels that watched the Garden of Eden, but it says that he was not a guardian himself. He seems to fall more into the watcher category in multiple texts and is only referred to assisting the Garden of Eden once, so I would not consider him a cherubic angel. He is the 4th angel in Evangelion, but he's the 2nd that we see on screen. He attacks 3 weeks after the previous angel. This angel is defeated by Shinji in Unit 1 with 2 of his classmates in the pod with him. It's funny because this angel, his name literally translates into God is my son, and the Eva kills him at sunset, and he dies at sunset, so I thought that was very interesting. Shinji has a lot of doubt before going and fighting this angel, even sitting there and wondering what he's doing this for if his father's not looking at him, since he only pilots the Eva really for his father's approval. But when he sees his friends and protects his friends, well, they're not his friends at the time, they kind of beat the shit out of him, but like they're his future friends, it gives him a little bit more of a purpose to fight and put his all into it. And he does, and he wins. This angel ends up being the reason that his classmates understand and empathize with him and become his friends. This angel causes Shinji to quit being a pilot, but he is brought right back with his love and empathy from his classmates and also Misato. Whether or not he ever admits it in canon, he finds another reason to get back in the robot. And that's all thanks to this angel. This angel appears very bug-like. It attacks with these cool laser tentacles. I don't care for the appearance of this angel. It kind of freaks me out. I am a monster fucker, but I draw the line at anything insecty, and this thing's a little too insecty for me. So I go ahead and declare Shamshiel a pass. Now we move on to Ramiel. Ramiel's an interesting one because technically Ramiel does not fully exist as himself. Ramiel has a few different translations of his name, which makes this a little difficult to find information on him. So Ramiel, spelled as it is in the show, is a fallen watcher angel, but this is not to be confused with Ramiel, who is an archangel seen in 3 Enoch. Ramiel is one of the people who goes and has bad angel babies with a bunch of human women. Ramiel does not do that. Both seem to come from like a similar base syllable, with Ramiel meaning God has thundered, and Ramiel meaning God shall have mercy. Ramiel presides over true visions, whatever that means. Ramiel is the archangel of hope specifically, and in certain texts his position is replaced by Jeremiel and Uriel. So he's a little bit more niche and a little bit more obscure, because technically a lot of people can't decide which one he actually is, because he's not even mentioned in the Bible. He's only mentioned in side texts. A lot of these angels come from the DLC, not the main game, you know? They come from the OVA, not the canon episodes. In Eva, his name means the Angel of Thunder. In Eva, he's a fun, funky, geometrical guy that's all reflective and cool, and a funky little shape in the sky. Even though he looks like technology, he's actually 100% biological. You see him bleed and decay once he has died, which is pretty cool. He is the first angel to penetrate the geofront, and he does so with a drill. He also has beams of laser light that protect his body, and his AT field is visible to the human eye because of how strong it is. The episode that introduces Ramiel also acts as our proper introduction to Rei, who Rei is and what Rei's relationship with Shinji's father and therefore Shinji is going to be. I actually consider Ramiel Rei's angel because this is a huge chunk of Rei's personality, of her story. We get it here. The beam of light that the angel radiates nearly kills Shinji and puts his robot almost out of commission, and so Rei and Shinji end up having to work together to take down this thing. They create basically a special cannon that uses all of the energy in the entire country to take down this angel. Shinji fires the gun, but Rei plays defense, and that basically describes their dynamic for the rest of the show perfectly. And because of that, I consider this Rei's character development angel. Would I smash Ramiel? Yes. Look at him. Look how sexy this bitch is. 100%. Now let's move on to Gabriel. Gabriel in text is more commonly referred to as Dagiel. The name translates into Roaring Beast of God. There is not a lot of information about this angel. There is a 1967 book. It's by Gustav Davidson, and it is called A Dictionary of Angels. It is specifically a book about the blossoming occult way to look at angels. This is the only textual place with sources, with anything that I was able to find information on Dagiel. This will be the case for a few angels in here. So I have nothing other to tell you than the fact that within the text of this Dictionary of Angels, Dagiel is considered the angel of fish, which means Gagiel. It's the angel of fish. This angel is our introduction to Asuka. This angel is a large sea creature that comes from the ocean. It specifically is trying to attack and get in contact with Unit 2 because Unit 2 has Adam's DNA, and it's kind of trying to start the third impact by sniffing out that Adam DNA and getting jiggy with it. This angel gets to show us the kind of audacity Asuka has. We get to see her skills, we get to see her determination, but we also get to see how fragile her ego is and how quickly she has to shift blame on others when she's in a panic situation. They end up using a fishing technique to kill this angel. It explodes when it dies. The purpose of this angel, like I said, is mainly to introduce it to Asuka and also show us that these angels know where Adam's DNA is and they want it. So would I smash? I'm not enthusiastic about it. And consent should always be enthusiastic. So I'll just say nah, pass. Also, fun fact before we move on though, Gabriel is seen sometimes associated with the day Friday in occult works and the planet Venus. So that's exciting, but that's still all the information I have on it. Next up we have Israfel, which is a beautiful name. Israfel, also spelled Israfil, is an angel in Islam who blows a trumpet to signal the day of judgment. In Judaism, he blows a trumpet to symbolize the day of resurrection. He's seen as a counterpart usually to Raphael, and sometimes their myths are interchangeable. He is one of the only 4 archangels specifically listed in the Quran as being the 4 archangels of Islam. He's seen as the oldest, he's seen as the closest to God. The name Israfel does not appear in the Quran, but a figure blowing the trumpet is alluded to multiple times, and then supplementary texts through Islamic vocal traditions and Islamic other side texts, more DLCs one might say, we hear about this. The name Israfel is also the name of a poem by Edgar Allan Poe, and that is actually more likely where the creator of Evangelion got it from. In this poem, Israfel is seen as the sweetest of God's creatures, and he plays beautiful music, and he's stunning and beautiful and amazing. But Edgar Allan Poe finishes the poem by saying that human beings make sweeter music, and human beings create sweeter songs than even God's favorite angel. Only humans can summon true passion because humans have felt pain. The name Israfel means the burning one in the Evangelion show. This angel starts off being one biological being that breaks off into 2 that fight in unison and have 2 separate cores. So if you're going to destroy the angel, you got to destroy both cores at once, which Shinji and Asuka do by fighting through coordinated dance. They fight simultaneously, and they destroy this angel simultaneously. This angel obviously pushes Shinji and Asuka's relationship forward, their relation with each other, how they understand each other, it pushes that forward. But also this episode, the stakes of Shinji and Asuka defeating this angel, place the first thought in Asuka's head that she is to be threatened by Rei. There's a scene specifically when Asuka and Shinji cannot get in sync for their moves, when Misato asks Rei to step in, specifically thinking it'll kick Asuka into gear and motivate her, and instead it starts a slow creep of insecurity that will destroy her. So this angel accidentally causes that. Now here's the most important question of this, smash or pass, an enthusiastic smash. I have 2 hands, and this angel is 2 beings. Smash. Next up we have Sandalphon. I cannot say this word. In Christian and Jewish writings, this is an archangel that is listed. He is not mentioned in scripture, once again. He is mentioned in Midrash and in, I think, like 1 translation of the Talmud. Some supplemental texts refer to Sandalphon as the twin brother of Metatron, who also rose to angelhood in a similar way that Enoch did, but he is not mentioned in 3 Enoch or any texts that have the Enoch myth in them directly, if that makes sense. This angel is a little baby in an egg in a volcano, and it hatches and they have to fight it. And it's probably my least favorite Eva battle, I'm not gonna lie. There is absolutely no reason why I don't like it other than just, I guess, personal storytelling preference. It's not my favorite. I think it's interesting for what it does with Asuka's character, and like the science in the episode is really cool, with the magma and the pressure, and it's pretty freaking cool, but it's just my least favorite battle. The angel is killed by Asuka. Asuka is rescued by Shinji. Great, snaps all around. The presence of this angel makes Shinji have some realizations about his father, kind of on the sides. I would consider this Asuka's angel in a very similar way that Ramiel was Rei's angel, just in the sense that Asuka does this bad bitchery on her own, but what Shinji realizes is if they don't complete the mission, the entire area is going to be nuked by Shinji's father, even though Shinji is there. Everyone there will die if they can't defeat the angel in the volcano. And Shinji just kind of has a moment where I guess he realizes that he's not important enough to his dad to defeat the trolley problem or whatever. This episode also shows us that angels can incubate, they can come from eggs, they can exist within high heat, high pressure, etc. They're very easy to adapt. It's interesting that they specifically mention all the high heat and intense situations this angel can survive, because it almost feels like this angel has specifically adapted to live in hell, which is very cool. Think about it, volcano, eternal damnation fire, very interesting stuff. This creature is only vaguely seen, like you don't get a great view of it, but it is also very bug-like. It actually kind of looks like an isopod, and therefore we have an instant pass to the smash or pass question, because I don't fuck with isopods. I have a genuine fear of isopods. Instant downvote from me. Next up, we have Material. I butcher that because Material is not its actual name in any biblical text. Material or Matriel, it's actually often referred to as Batriel or Batriel. The name means premonition of God. Batriel is the 12th out of 20 watchers, as stated in the fallen angels that go and have all the sex with the women. This is one of them. There is no other mention of this person anywhere else. This angel is so niche, a rare angel. This angel in the show is bug-like, it's spider-like. It has 4 large arms and it's absolutely covered with eyes, and its eyes basically cry corrosive acid. This is the first angel we see all 3 kids willingly working together in some capacity, which is very, very cool. This angel also gives Shinji a weird glimmer of hope with his father, because he sees his father putting in the physical labor to put the Evas together without any power to allow the city to be saved. This push-pull relationship you see with Shinji and his father, the push and pull is stemmed by angels every time. An angel causes a push, an angel causes a pull, and if you're someone who has a tumultuous relationship with a family member, especially with a father, this resonates, this push and pull resonates, and this push and pull is continued again by this angel. But the answer to the smash and pass is very obvious, because this is a very bug-like angel. We have an instant pass. Little too spider-like for me. That being said, all the eyes on the design are really fucking cool. Like that's a cool looking angel. 10 out of 10. And next up we have Sahaquiel. Please forgive me for butchering these names, please. If someone out there speaks Hebrew, let me send you an edible arrangement to apologize. He's listed as one of the great 7 archangels in the books of Enoch. He's also described in the Apocrypha of the Hebrew Bible. He is described as the guardian of fourth heaven. His name translates directly to the ingenuity of God. He's also known as the angel of the sky, which is interesting because in Eva we see him descend from the sky. We also see him drop bombs from the sky. He has the same eye markings as the previous angel, but they're done in a different way, obviously. There's like one in the center, two on the side, and they're like surrounded by lashes-ish. You could call the sides lashes. Or like stems, maybe. This is where the bombs come from. This angel was killed with the combined efforts of all three of our favorite doomed children. The introduction of this angel in the episode where this angel is fought is intercut with various flashbacks or discussions about the second impact. And so this angel attack actually gives us more information about Adam than it does this angel. This is also the first angel attack where we see that the three children have to sign wills before going into battle. And this is the first angel attack where the deaths of the children are taken very seriously, which is very interesting because we've had these characters almost die a few times now, and it's just now being taken seriously. This is also the only time, really, we see Shinji's dad properly say, "Good job" to him. We see him get actual praise from his father for defeating this angel. Something about this angel hit everyone a nerve differently. The level of danger, because of these bombs, the craters, the distance it was out in space, whatever it was, something about this angel hit people differently. And therefore it hit the audience differently. So would I smash this angel? I'm going to have to say pass. Not only because of its size, which usually wouldn't deter me from a smash or pass situation, but also because genuinely the fact it's bopping down these bombs is terrifying. This angel scared me. The reference of which this episode took, like when writing this angel and making these characters react to this angel, scared me. So pass. Next up we have Aruel. IRL. This Bible name does not exist. It's probably Uriel. Uriel is in the Bible. Archangel Uriel is known as the Archangel of Wisdom. My notes specifically have a quote written down that he shines the light of God's truth onto the darkness of confusion. In the show, the name Uriel means an angel of terror, but in the Bible, Uriel means God is my light, or the fire of God, the light of God. There are a few dynamic spellings of this angel's name, which will come into play a little bit later while talking about a different angel, but I can only assume Uriel is inspired from the name Uriel, because the name Uriel comes up for nothing except for Eva. In a few Jewish texts, he is seen as an angel of thunder and earthquake and a wielder of a fiery sword that drove Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. Uriel is also usually the first archangel people usually ask before going to God for something. They're like, we'll check with HR first, and then we'll go to the CEO if shit doesn't work out. This entity in Eva, this angel, acts almost like a mold, a fungus, a virus. It's on a nano level. It is so tiny. It seems to not have a core, and it seems like it cannot be defeated in any conventional way. Its appearance, when you zoom in on it, looks more like circuits than it does anything biological. It seems to be corroding metal, and therefore corroding these imitation Eva bodies that were being tested at the moment, specifically Ray's. It is noted in the show that this angel starts by attacking the pituitary system of this imitation body. The pituitary system, or the neuroendocrine system, consists of specifically your brain and then your pituitary glands, which control your hormones. So this thing attacked these imitation bodies hormone first, which is an interesting, it's just interesting to note. You know what I mean? In a show like this, it is defeated when the virus is taken out of the three Magi computers. It's defeated the same way any other virus would be defeated. This virus is the reason that us as an audience even learn about the Magi and also learn about personality transplant technology in the world of Eva, and we all know what that means. So, would I smash or pass this angel mold? Pass. I don't like being sick. I get sick very easily, I get sick very often, and I don't like it. And to smash this I would assume, means I would get my neuroendocrine system versucht. So no thank you, God. No thank you. The next angel we have is Liliel. This name does not exist in any biblical text. I'm assuming Lila or Lilia, two different ways I've seen it spelled, Layla even, is an angel in the Talmud. and in a few other Jewish mythologies, and I'm assuming this is where the name comes from, especially looking at what this angel does, what this entity does. This would make a lot of sense for Eva, especially this specific angel. So this angel is not mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, but it is mentioned in the Talmud, in certain translations of it, and specifically some interpretations of Genesis. The name is regularly referred to as night in a very similar way that Lilith's is, so there is some overlap with these translations. But specifically, there is some midrash that specifies that Layla, or Lila, is an angel in charge of contraception. She specifically helps God create the babies in wombs with their entire futures predetermined, except for if they will be wicked or righteous, except for if they will be regretful or repent. Their decisions with God are undetermined. Everything else is predetermined. Every time this angel is mentioned, it seems to be in regards to contraception, to pregnancy, to, having babies, making babies. In the show, it's interesting because Leliel is like a pocket dimension being. Leliel's true form is this large black void shadow that's only a few inches deep, and it acts as a thing that sucks stuff into basically a pocket dimension, almost, like a separate universe. Kind of. There is a circular geometric entity in the sky that acts both as the thing that contains this pocket dimension and also as the metaphorical shadow while she is the actual shadow. During the episode where this angel is introduced, Shinji is sucked into this separate dimension that this angel is or can connect to. While Shinji is there, the angel communicates with him and communicates also with the soul of his dead mom inside the Eva. This is the first time we get to see what angels do to the human psyche, which is to connect with them, analyze them, basically have a conversation with themselves about themselves, therapize themselves, really breaking down your ego. Leliel was most likely trying to just connect with Shinji and ended up connecting with the mother by mistake, which is why when Shinji's life support comes out, Mombot goes berserk. Mombot busts out of the big circular thing in a way that looks like a horrible massacre of the concept of birth. It's actually very cool. There's some yonic imagery going on and it's stunning. This entire episode, it's kind of like microdosing at the end of Eva with like the psychological stuff we see, and I love it, I love it, I love it. It's the whole reason I love Evangelion is stuff like this. And so I think this pretty circular lady that forces you to go on psychological journeys and then gives horrible birth to you, I think she's great. And smash. 100% smash. I think it would be fun to not exist for a little bit, have some really good therapy, and then to be literally reborn. I think that would be fun sometimes, but no one ever wants anyone to have any fun, so I guess that's not physically possible. Next up we have Bardiel, also known as Brueghel in some texts. The names are interchangeable, it seems. The names mean kindness of God or ray of light of God. It also can mean God has blessed or God has gifted, kindness of God, that same vein. Bardiel or Brueghel is one of the archangels in Judaism. He's the archangel of blessings, and he's mentioned in 3 Enoch, as a lot of these angels are. Fun fact also, in some occult circles, he is associated with the month of February and the sign of Pisces. Hello, how you doing? This angel does not get presented to us in the way that any other angel would, in the sense it did not descend to Earth, it was on Earth, and it's Unit 3. Unit 3 becomes instantly corrupted while trying to assimilate mentally with Toji, and it becomes a proper angel. It inherits an Eva's strength and an Eva's size, but it also has more animalistic characteristics, and it can hyperextend its limbs as a weapon. This angel really fucks up everyone else. Everyone else. Like, this angel takes down Asuka in a heartbeat. Like, this guy, massacre, because it has the same strength of everything of an Eva. It knows its enemy inside and out. Shinji hesitates to fight this because he knows that there has to be a pilot in there to pilot an Eva, and he sees the entry plug and he knows it's happening, but he doesn't know who's in there. Even without knowing that it is one of his friends in that Eva, he refuses to treat that Eva like a full angel and goes full sympathy on it, refuses to fight it. So his father takes control of the Eva through remote thing by separating Shinji's control and using a dummy plug to arcade this mecha into destroying the other mecha. This happens in an extremely visceral, horrifying, graphic display of animation brilliance. It is disturbing, it is haunting, it is upsetting to watch, and it is exactly what it needs to be, and I love every second of it. The entire time, Shinji is screaming, no, stop, oh god, everything's awful. It's really hard to listen to and it's great. And in the end, the pilot, Toji, ends up getting heavily injured and the Eva's destroyed and there is no more Unit 03. They don't even try to rebuild her. While Toji is inside the Eva, Mr. Ikari actually does try to like save him. He tries to eject the plug. He tries to do that before sending people to kill this Eva, but when the entry plug does not eject and it is assumed the pilot is also corrupted with the angel, that's only when Shinji's father decides they have to kill the actual thing. And I want to take note of that. Shinji's not aware that these were the steps taken because everyone sucks at communication, but Shinji's dad wasn't just trying to kill Toji for no reason. When the pilot pod, the entry plug, is opened and Toji is rescued from it, we actually get to see the inside of it, where there's a lot of tendrils and tissue and solidified LCL fluid, where we kind of get to see what it looks like when an angel directly starts to corrupt a human being for the first time. Toji also experiences the same psychological thing inside Bardiel that Shinji experiences inside Liliel, which is, again, microdosing into Viva. We don't get to see it to the extent that Shinji got it. So would I smash Bardiel? I say yes, 100%. There is absolutely no reason not to smash this giant evil robot. Even after seeing it be ripped to shreds, I still think there's something there for me. All the Evas literally have 8-packs. I don't know what to tell you. Let's move on to the next one. This angel barely exists. Zeruel. The name translates to Arm of God in Eva, but the only actual name that I can find that relates to this is actually Jeruel, which is a desert by the Dead Sea. That means fear of God. This angel doesn't technically exist in any other text that I could find. I dug for hours trying to find something, anything. Could not find anything for this angel. This angel is one of the only 3 that actually directly gets into Nerve headquarters. So after everything happened with Toji last episode, Shinji quits being a pilot, bounces, he is outie. He's outie. So fighting this angel, Asuka goes to do it, flops, awful. This angel totally tears apart Asuka. It has like these tape arms and it's really aggressive and evil and it's really hard to fight. It's probably the most powerful angel sent so far. Then Rei tries to blow it up and fight it and it fails, and then Rei's robot gets all fucked up, and Shinji makes a decision after having a long conversation with Kaji and after kind of seeing these Evas get destroyed and processing that there are reasons outside of him to be doing this. He gets back in the Eva. He beats the shit out of this angel. Kind of. So his robot dies, and then it goes berserk mode. And the Lilith mother angel entity inside Unit 1 gets up, goes berserk, eats the angel, breaks its restraints, and shows Nerve the real power of what they're dealing with. This monster kind of spits in the face of everything Nerve had. The last angel, Bardiel, already was in the process of basically mocking Nerve for its audacity, for its ability to play God by having one of its own Evas turn against it. But now this is even more ridiculous. This Eva doesn't even turn against it. This Eva returns peacefully, but it displays its strength first and it eats an angel first. Shinji really bonds with his unit against this angel. This is one of those moments where Shinji fully understands, this robot is my mom. You know what I mean? This robot is his mother, and he feels it and he gets it. He gets it fully. This angel is also the only angel that treats the Evangelions as other angels by trying to destroy their cores, especially trying to destroy the core of Unit 1 by ripping off the armor, finding the angel core, and trying to destroy it. This angel means fear of God within the show, and it really did put the fear of God in Shinji, and it also taught him really what it means to be a pilot. We never really see him hesitate again in the series against an angel until End of Eva, but that's a completely different story. This is also the episode that confirms to the audience that Shinji's big old boy robot was made with Lilith and not Adam's DNA. So would I smash or pass this robot? I'm going to have to say pass because he's a little scary. While yes, the bondage opportunities of a creature with large tape arms are immeasurable, what we must remember is that I saw this thing get cannibalized, and that'll kind of turn anyone off. This isn't like a vampire situation or a Hannibal situation. This is I watched an abomination of God eat another abomination of God to prevent the apocalypse where we all become abominations of God, and it's really humbling. So pass. Next up, we have Ral, which I am assuming is modified spelling of the Archangel Ariel. Ariel is sometimes translated into the name Uriel. I'm assuming that's what's going on. Then it's just Uriel, the Archangel we talked about previously. There is a separate angel named Ariel mentioned in the books of Enoch, mentioned separately from Uriel, but it seems like enough translations could have got mixed up to make these two entities, you know, separate, the same, whatever. This is one of those moments where you have to sit there and you have to be like, I am sure that some professor who speaks Hebrew and who's been studying this for his whole life could give you a lot better answers about Ariel versus Uriel versus Ramael versus this versus that, whatever. I'm a funky guy who does this for fun. The answers I got told me that this wasn't connecting. So we go with that. The name Ariel means victorious under God. In Paradise Lost, which is it's not a biblical text, but it, you know, Paradise Lost includes Dante's Inferno, etc. In Dante's Inferno, in Paradise Lost, Ariel is a rebel angel who is overcome and killed, I believe, the first day of the War of Heaven. So that's crazy. In the show, this is the 15th angel. This is the angel that is known as the angel that destroyed Asuka. It appears as basically two glowing wings in the sky. And when Asuka goes to fight this thing, a beam of light comes down from this angel that contaminates Asuka's psychology, contaminates the use of her unit, severs her mental connection with her unit, and forces her to relive her mother's suicide, and forces her to relive some of the worst trauma of her life, and also have a horrific psychoanalyzing moment similar to Shinji's, but it's not soft, and it doesn't help her get any motivation or move forward. It exclusively knocks her down. Rei ends up saving Asuka from this angel with the lance of Longinus, with the spear of Longinus. Basically, Shinji's father goes against basically all protocols and gets Rei to go down, take the spear out of Lilith, go throw it at this angel, and kill this angel. This does save Asuka. This angel forces Asuka to go through the worst of the worst. It breaks her. It effectively puts her out of commission until basically halfway through End of Eva. It is the ultimate microdose of End of Eva. We really get to see what it means to be pushed into your primordial pool in that moment. Also, a specific type of music you may or may not be familiar with, the Hallelujah chorus, is played during this angel's entire attack. Some people online say this means it represents a Judgment Day situation. I think they just used religious music because the joyful, beautiful music, in contrasting to Asuka's terrified screams about how her mind is being ruined forever, it just makes it for good horror. So would I smash or pass this being of light? Honestly, smash, mainly because it looks the most angelic out of all the angels / neg. It's pretty terrifying and it's pretty disturbing, but it's also free therapy. And in this economy, you can't really say no to that, especially here in the US where no healthcare is free. So, you know, I'll take it. Also, I really do love Asuka. Her everything hits a little too close to home. So, smash this angel by obligation. Next up, we have Armi Sael. I think that's how you say it. God bless me. This name seems to translate to the mountain of judgment of God. This is one of the few names that is mentioned directly in an official canonical text. This name is mentioned in the Talmud. The Talmud says that a woman could ease childbirth by reciting Psalms 29 times, and that if this doesn't work, then one is to evoke Armsiel to help with the pain of childbirth. There is absolutely no other information I could find of this angel. None, zero, zilch, nada, nothing. In Eva, this angel is the last of Adam's natural offspring, which is why I think it's interesting that this is an angel of childbirth and helping with the pain of childbirth. This is an angel that appears as a ring of light that imitates DNA, which is also very interesting considering the everything. And it also produces some of the best body horror in any anime I've ever seen in my life. Armsiel, when it attacks Rei, it specifically starts to try to fuse with Rei's DNA. It senses that Rei is not fully a true human. It senses that something is whack, and it tries to fuse with Rei because of it. When we see inside Rei's mind, like we do with some of these other characters, what we see is specifically a conversation where it's like the angel is almost asking consent for Rei to fuse because the angel tells that Rei's made of different DNA. Rei rejects that, tries to fight against it. When Shinji gets attacked by the same thing, it temporarily connects Rei to Shinji, and Shinji starts to experience awful body horror of tiny Reis forming in his human skin. It looks very similar to Lilith's body, when Lilith's body is made up with tiny little pieces of humans. Rei ends up using her desire to connect with Shinji. Shinji's inner mom inside Rei kind of comes out, and she's able to contain the angel within herself and implode and die. Unit 00 is gone forever. And it dies in this absolutely beautiful display of animation prowess. The art in this scene cannot be, like, I can't overcompliment it, you know what I mean? Also, like I said, the body horror in this is amazing, with Ray's body melting into her Eva, with the horrifying small rays appearing everywhere. It's horrifying. It is so disturbing. It is so fucked up. This also shows us our introduction to third Ray. Once Armciel is dead and the second Ray is taken, we get to see Ray's replacement. We get to learn all about that, basically. So would I smash or would I pass? As tempting as it is to smash what is essentially a long, glowing tentacle, I must pass. I don't want my body to melt and become small, tiny me's and small, tiny anythings. Nah, I'm good. I'm really fine. Pass. The first time I watched that episode, I really couldn't sleep afterwards. Like, it's so good. But it's awful, and I will not have sex with it. We're on our final Smasher Pass Angel! Finally. Next up we have Tabris, also known as Kaoru, also known as one of my first anime crushes. In Gustav Davidson's A Dictionary of Angels, that is the only place I was able to find the name Tabris anywhere, and that means Tabris is the angel of free will. As far as I am aware, Tabris does not exist in any actual biblical text. He's not in 3 Enoch, he's not in the Bible, he's not in the Quran, he's not anywhere. He's literally nowhere. So he is the rarest, most niche of the angels. So I mentioned that the last angel was the last one, Armciel, was the last of Adam's natural offspring. That's because Tabris is not Adam's natural offspring. Tabris was most likely born from the second impact. He's much more like Ray in the sense of human and angel DNA mixed in a unnatural birthing. He was kind of kept secret and held by the Sele company. He was sent as a replacement to replace Asuka to pilot Unit 2. Because Asuka is so deeply affected by the attack of Ariel, Asuka literally can't keep functioning, and so they try to replace her. When we first see Kaoru, he is introduced humming Ode to Joy from Beethoven's 9th Symphony, and basically instantly he starts hitting on Shinji like no tomorrow. Mad respect for an angel who falls in love with the first human he sees. Trust me, I get it. I'm a Pisces. Canonically, this angel did fall in love with Shinji, and Shinji fell in love with the angel back. It's in the text. If you try to fight me on it, I'm not gonna understand. I'm gonna tell you to go rewatch the show. The angel of angels, the ultimate final solution to the angel problem, fell in love with a human. That is beautiful. And he specifically also lets Shinji kill him. He willingly dies because he doesn't want to be a part of the third impact, because he realizes the value in humans by falling in love with Shinji. Not even humans could see the value of humans in this show. Not even humans could love and respect each other, but an angel does. An angel really does. The Ode to Joy song from Beethoven's 9th Symphony is replayed a few times in this episode. You hear Shinji listening to it while thinking about Kaoru. It is played during Kaoru's final battle with Shinji. It is used to, introduce this final angel. And this is the music that I think was used on purpose to show a Judgment Day type situation with the angels, not the Hallelujah chorus back with Ariel. Shinji feels seen and understood by Tabris, which is why it is so heartbreaking when Tabris ends up having to die. And then Tabris is seen and understood by Shinji, which is why Tabris is willing to die. Tabris states that life and death are the same to him, but it's not the same to humans, and he knows that, which is why he's willing to sacrifice himself for Shinji. He is the patron angel of free will, and he specifically says in the show, choosing when to die is the ultimate display of freedom, of free will. And then Tabris dies. Those 30, 45 seconds, however long it is, of silence before Shinji crushes Kaoru. First time I watched it, I sobbed my eyes out. I still sob my eyes out every single time. Masterpiece. Masterpiece. And that's why Kaoru is the ultimate yes in the Smasher Pass question. Not only is he the only one with a human body, but also he canonically falls in love with a human. It's beautiful. It's stunning. It is more than Smash worthy. What's beyond Smash or Pass? Can we really quantify true love with a smash or a pass? Or must we look beyond our base human instincts and see what it really means to connect with someone outside of the flesh? Anyway, like I said, he was one of my first anime crushes, so absolute smash. That is the last of the biblical angels mentioned in Evangelion, and I've always respected how Evangelion portrayed angels, not only for the aesthetics, because I'm happy we finally get some angels that aren't just, you know, pretty women, but we get angels that resonate with what the Christian God actually is. Not just because in the Bible angels are mentioned to have 1,000,000 eyes and 1,000,000,000,000 wings and mouths all over their bodies and blah 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 blah, but because these angels are terrifying. Most of them, minus Kaoru, do not see the value in human life. They do not see the value in why humans are here. They are willing to go through whatever weird, horrific punishments and displays of power they have to do to achieve their goal, which aligns with what the Christian God is for me, and what the Christian God represents for a lot of people who were tortured by the Christian religion. Obviously, I know some good Christians, I know some beautiful Catholics, I know some stunning religious people who do nothing but spread love and joy. But the reality is, if you crack open the Bible and you look at it from an objective perspective, God is a scary, horrifying, Cthulhu-like entity. He's an eldritch horror. He has no care for us. And I think Evangelion captures that feeling with all of the angels. Things are really scary right now for a lot of people in the United States, and it kind of feels like every second is Judgment Day for some people right now. And it kind of feels like that all over the world, really, if you look hard enough. And this isn't a new feeling. A lot of people have felt this fear for a very long time, which is why religion exists in the first place, why people turn to God, why people turn to angels. In the face of some of the worst things ever, we experience a desire for joy and connection, and that's what Eva is all about. There are multiple points in the show, you know, where something absolutely awful is happening, and then you cut to a character going out of their way to water some plants, to eat shitty ramen, to drink an extra beer, because you need stuff like that to survive. And these angels represent everything that we constantly are trying to survive against. Animalistic cruelty that comes from people and beings that should know better and should care about humans, but it almost seems like they choose not to. Anyway, that was a nice philosophical video about what angels I'd have sex with, right? Ugh. God. I want Cold Stone.